Maria. I'm going to be doing a really quick check-in. I actually wasn't going to do this at all because unfortunately Dr. Mosley's body was found on a steep rocky slope right near the Agia marina, and yeah, a lot of people are still going on about that it's foul play, even though CCTV footage shows him on his own on that steep slope, to the point where, you know, it shows him for 30 minutes climbing down this steep slope, and he's on his own, landing, or has collapsed or fallen where his body would later be found. So I wasn't going to do this reading because, in my opinion, it's just very, very, you know, to the point. It's self-explanatory, basically. You know, you've got all the crucial evidence on camera already showing him on his own. There was no other perpetrators seen on camera with him, but for some reason, people are still believing this is foul play. The officials, the police, the coroner, everyone has the evidence they need. I know there's a toxicology report being done now. I know there was a autopsy done, the first one, but I think they're doing a toxicology which can take months to come in. So I just thought, okay, let me sit down with my divine crime oracle and let's see what comes up in the reading as to what actually happened to him, and hopefully we can, you know, lay this to rest. No pun intended, but rest in paradise, Dr. Mosley. I feel like when he did come to me for that brief moment after I did the first reading, I think it was, when I saw him distraught in my bedroom. I was actually getting ready for bed, and I saw him standing near my cupboards, and I just thought at the time, oh, I've got to go and get ready. And I actually said to him, I will be back, because I didn't know, you know, was it just my imagination or was he really there? But then, because I wasn't really tuned into it, but I realized it was him. But when I came back, I heard the word gateway. I had no idea what that meant. I thought, oh, I actually went to sleep. I was so tired. Anyway, I realized he was looking so distraught, not because he wanted to have me, you know, help to, you know, find him to save his life. He was already gone by then. But I do believe that he was distraught because he knew his children were on that mountain with his wife and their family searching for him. And I think they were like 350 yards away from his body. So thankfully, they did not come across him. It would have been traumatic for his children or family or wife to come across his remains. And I just think that was part of why he was saying gateway, because in actual fact, his body was not far from a resort gateway. What am I doing here? So, oh gosh. So we're going to have a look at the reading here, okay? What happened to Dr. Mosley, please, Spirit? What happened to Dr. Mosley on the mountain at Agia Maria? I don't believe that at all. There's, you know, in order to kill someone through strangulation, you actually have to be with their body. And on the CCTV footage, there is no one else, okay, but him on that mountain where he's climbing down and then he collapses or falls in those rocks. So to me, also, there are no marks on his neck or throat to indicate anyone doing that to him. So that's relevant to me. Solved evidence, meaning this case is already solved. Internet, social media. Yeah, the news media found him. Yeah, it's already solved, as we've been told. Oops. What else can you tell us about this case, Spirit? See, to me, that does not make sense. There are no bullets. There is no gunshot, you know, shooting. There's nothing like that. There's no bullets or bullet holes in his body. June is when he was missing and found. What happened to Dr. Mosley, please, Spirit? Tell us what happened to him. What happened to Dr. Mosley, please? What happened to Dr. Mosley? So we do know that it could take months for the toxicology report to come through. Winter is what it is here in Australia. Yep, hang on a minute. Forest path mossy. So we know that it's not really mossy as such, but I would say that, we're talking about pathways, him taking a different pathway. Whoopsies. There's the River Creek, so I guess you could see that as the waterway that he was near. Mental stress fragmented breakdown. We got summer. See, this does not make sense to me. Female child victim. There's never been any news. Nothing's been burnt down or anything, so I don't see them as relevant. But this could be relevant. Was his mind or mental state fragmented? Was he having a breakdown? Was he having that amnesia that someone told me about that he had last time from going in water? Not that he was in water, but is that something that was his, once again, female victim? There's no female victim. Was something happening to his mind with memory, confusion, disorientation? Was something going on there? Male child victim, haven't heard anything about it. So to me, it's totally irrelevant. What fell down? Oh, gosh, hang on a minute. Just got to find... Oh, my cards. Oops, what's going on? Okay, let me get back in track. Intention here, please, Spirit. What happened to Dr. Mosley? What happened to him? So we've got opportunity, random impulse. In other words, this was a random impulsive decision. That's what I'm thinking. Unsolved. Okay, so there might be some things unsolved. I don't know what that could be. Maybe what happened to him for the 1 hour and 45 minutes that, he was up on the mountain. Helper. There were a lot of people helping to search for him. You could see this as there might have been a helper. I don't know. Whatever you want to see that as, it's up to you. Maybe, it won't be solved as to what actually caused him to collapse. It might not be solved. You could put in factors like age. He was 67. He was a healthy 67, but he was still 67, climbing a mountain for almost 2 hours in a really, oh my God, it was a stinking hot day. No one in their right mind would walk. And he's taken a wrong turn and just kept walking and walking, it seems, until he got to where he got to. Okay, let's see what else is going on with Dr. Mosley, please. We've got spring. So springtime. Well, it's going to be springtime either next year in the Northern Hemisphere, or it's springtime for us, which will be in the next few months. July, August. So in 3 months. So in 3 months, there could be some news. I think it's to do with the toxicology report. Break and enter. I don't know what that's about because there's been no news of anything about anyone breaking and entering his accommodation, or, you know what I mean? Like, there's just nothing there. December is something we could hear news. Legal court documents, eyewitness statements. This could be when the report is brought out as a finalised thing. The inquest into his death, perhaps. Justice. So there's no real need for justice as far as I'm concerned. This was an accident, a tragic, unfortunate accident. But, a lot of people probably think that there's foul play. There it is there. Look at him on the mountain. Misadventure and lost. So that shows me what my 2 readings have already stated. What I've felt all along is that this was a case of a misadventure. Not feeling right in his head. I really felt that there was a lot of head trauma. Even doesn't have to mean when you hear head trauma that there's like a blunt force trauma from anyone else. He could have hit his head, but I feel like it was more from heat stroke, being out, you know, in that environment for so long, you know. So to me, that's not relevant. There's no truck that we're aware of or seen or anything. I just don't find that relevant at all. A truck. No, I don't get that. March was his birthday, I'm pretty sure. We got the church there. Did he stop in at a church? He could have stopped in at a church. I think there's churches on the hill up there somewhere. He might have stopped in for some shade for a little bit. That might have been why it took him a while to get to where he was. Dark night wandering, well, we know it was a daytime thing, so to me that's irrelevant. Because he was seen on the CCTV footage, you know, by, I think it was 3:44, I think it was PM, outside the Agia Marina, and you see him walking down the hill, or trying to climb down the hill, through the rocks before he falls. Kidnapped abduction. So some of us could say, okay, well, maybe he was abducted along his journey. Maybe he was taken to a church. There's a guilty knowledge did the act, okay, if you want to think that. City, urban crowds, to me, that's not relevant. But to me, it definitely shows if someone was going to kidnap him, for what purpose, okay? We've got to think reasonably on this, okay? We've got to think really with common sense here as well. Why would somebody, what would be a motive for someone to kidnap him and then let him go again? Why would they do that? Well, it could be that they're trying to get information from him. It could be that they're going to mug him and take his, you know, watch and belongings and money and whatever he's got on him. And that, we know that didn't happen. There was no thief. Okay, there was nothing taken from him. It would have been reported if there was stuff missing from his bag, or if his watch was taken, if it was a mugging as such. If someone wanted to kidnap and hold him, what kind of information would they want from him, especially if it's a stranger? And if it was, you know, why would they not kill him? Why would they just not take him off up in the mountains somewhere and just leave his body behind rocks up there? Why, you know, do something to him and then let him go again? I don't get it. That does not make any sense to me whatsoever. So that could be true, or it could be completely false. But we do have the accident right there and him falling down. Country, wilderness, lush. So, you know, to me, it's not obviously very green and lush there. It's very dry. But we see he was out in the wilderness. Misadventure, lost, you know, getting lost. I don't know if he was stumbling as such, but yeah. We got crime of passion, rage. That usually represents a force of violence when someone just snaps and takes it out on someone else, and it can be assault. We don't see any, you know, the coroner said there was no bruising on him that suggested anything that's like that. So he wasn't beaten up. He wasn't kept somewhere and beaten up. He would have had bruising on his face, on his chest. That, you know, he would have had something like that by then. Whoops. That's October. That's come flying out. So could be any of these dates could be significant as to when a toxicology report comes out. Social drinks gathering. Was he drinking beforehand with his wife and friends? If it was alcohol, you know, could that have contributed further to his dehydration? And we've got it right there, guys. Natural causes. Okay, we've got it there. That's what I believe. I completely believe that this was a case of, right, this is what I believe. This was a case of misadventure, getting lost out in the wilderness and falling down the mountain, and then his heart's given out on him or something due to the heat stroke. That's exactly what I feel here. I really do. See, that doesn't make sense. Domestic violence, physical abuse. There's just no evidence to support that at all. And I think the most telling thing with it is the fact that he was seen on his own, climbing down the mountain, trying to get to the water, and he didn't make it. And he's on his own. There's no perpetrators in there whatsoever. But it would be interesting to see what toxicology reports show. I doubt he had anything in there too bad in his system. You know, he doesn't look like he was intoxicated, stumbling along up a hill. And if that was the case, he probably would have been, you know, passed out sooner than, you know, getting to where he did. What's your idea on this, guys? I'd love to hear it. Love and blessings, and rest in peace, Dr. Mosley.